Here's Daddy with more Milliput madness.
To celebrate the launch of the new Turquoise Blue Milliput, I'm going to use it to turn a sphere on the lathe. It's ready and it's going to be in the shop soon. This is the new Milliput, the Turquoise Blue, which I'm very excited about. It's now going to be in production. This is the new retail packaging, and we have an official launch date. Here's a packet of it. It even says new on there in case there's any doubt. But this will be launched officially at Makers Central on the 11th and 12th of May 2019 at the NEC in Birmingham here in the UK. It's going to be a fantastic show. Make sure you get along and get your tickets. It's going to be amazing. And go and visit the Milliput stand. It will be on sale there. But got a little project lined up to use this to demonstrate the colour, and I'm going to combine it once again with black and white, and we'll see what we can do. I've constructed this large pine blank out of some very cheap pine wood from B&Q, and here I'm just roughing it to round using a spindle roughing gouge. Just working backwards and forwards. When I'm happy that it's round, I'm measuring the diameter, and I'm using that diameter to mark out a section, so it's as long as it is round in effect. And another one, just defining these with a parting tool. So I'm going to get 3 spheres out of this one blank. Now I've marked out an octagon, and there are formulae for this there's apps and formulae on the internet, so you can use your smartphone and it will tell you for the diameter of that blank, it'll tell you how long each side of the octagon should be. And you can mark it out. And by joining up the lines and creating that the spindle width between them is the same diameter as the length of one of the sides, if that makes sense. And by joining up these lines, you're starting to get a geometric shape. Now I've marked out some more lines to make a 16-sided figure. And I'm joining these up using my spindle gouge. And there's formulae for these. So I just use my smartphone and it does all the calculating for me. So there we are. I've got to mark in some more lines on the 16-sided shape. But it's getting there. This is a very quick process in actual fact. So I'm now joining up these other lines, so I have almost got my 16-sided shapes now. And this is a mathematical way of turning spheres on the lathe. I want these to be as accurate as possible because it's important for the next stage. And here I'm just taking off the corners using a square-nosed extra heavy-duty scraper here just for rounding everything off, removing those ridges. Taking it off the lathe. I'm now putting it between homemade, shop-made cup centres and just truing it up. Didn't need much truing because they were pretty exact anyway. But what I'm doing is removing any ghosting. Here's a couple of those pine spheres I turned on the lathe. And next job is to cover these in some Milliput. And to ensure that I get a really good bond between the Milliput and the wood, I'm going to coat the wood in a slow set epoxy resin as I go. Probably not needed because Milliput is very sticky in its own right, but this will bond, this will soak into the grain of the wood a little bit, and it bonds directly to Milliput, and it'll bond to the wood, and it just makes it a much more secure thing because these will be under quite a lot of force, centrifugal force, and the force of the tools and the centres on these when I'm finishing them. But this is G-Flex slow set epoxy from West Systems. Really good epoxy resin. I'm going to be rolling out the Milliput into thin layers, and I'm going to try cutting it using something different this time. One of my viewers suggested I used a pizza cutter. Well, sounds like a great idea, and I will give it a try. I'm really sorry, I've looked through all the comments. I'm trying to remember who recommended a pizza cutter, but whoever it was, thank you very much. Great idea. I'm going to try it today. I'm actually using a different camera and microphone setup for this as well. Let me know what you think. Does it sound any better? The picture's good. What I was doing was pretty good before, but I'm now switching to an external microphone. I've got some extra lighting, and mainly because I was working with two small Canon cameras, and one of them got rather filled up with dust in the garage and is now useless. So I've upgraded my dust-free camera for doing this talking to camera bit, filming stuff indoors and away from the dust and things like that. And the one that I was using indoors, my G7X, has now become my outdoor camera, and I'm trying to arrange a dust-proof housing for it. So hopefully you'll see an improvement in both the workshop pictures and my talking to camera. Hopefully it'll be better all round, but let me know in the comments. Unwrapping the new Turquoise Blue Milliput. Comes in two parts, parts A and B, equal quantities of both, and you start kneading them together. Kneading and mixing, and then I do a roll and fold technique where I roll it and then fold the ends into the middle and roll it and fold the ends into the middle until it's thoroughly mixed. It takes a good 5 minutes. Now I'm putting it between some baking parchment and I'm rolling it out flat to make a thin sheet. This takes a bit of time. It's quite stiff, but there we are. I've also mixed up some white and some black Milliput. I mixed them all separately and rolled them out into sheets, and I'm laying them over the top of each other, creating a layer cake. And just finishing up with the black. So I've got 4 layers. I then put the baking parchment over the top and I roll them out again so they're a bit thinner. There we go with the pizza cutter. I'm cutting strips off this. These are about 8mm thick, these strips, I think, from memory. Of course there's 4 layers in each strip. Putting the slow set epoxy resin on the wood blank. I then create these coils or spirals of Milliput, and I'm squidging those onto the wooden blank. And I have to do this very carefully and firmly, making sure I don't leave any voids. It does take a bit of time and patience. All these spirals are all going on there, and I'm making sure they're all properly compacted. Here's the Milliput sphere with the wood inside, and rather a lot of Milliput around the outside. It's all been well and truly compressed onto the wood, and it's all fully set now. I did it in 2 stages. A, because it makes your hands tired mixing all the Milliput, but also it's better because if you let one half set and adhere to the wood, then it gives you something to pack the second half against. There's a danger, it even happens with some large bowls and or large bands you put around bowls. As you compress one side, you displace the other side, and you can end up with a void underneath, where instead of it being stuck to the wood. So you can compress one half, let it set, then compress the other half onto it. This is going back on the lathe now, between cup centres, and I'm going to turn it to round again, because obviously it's not quite round now because it's been hand done. I'm going to have to go very, very carefully, because if I overcut it, I'm going to be through to the wood and it's going to destroy the whole thing. But we'll see how we go. It's a bit of an experiment, but we'll see. Here it is, back on the lathe between cup centres, and it's a bit wobbly to start with, and there's a lot of ghosting where it's not quite truly round. And I'm using an Easy Wood Tools Easy Rougher here, which I find is one of the best tools for doing this, really. And I just keep gradually removing little bits and little bits. I don't want to overcut this because it would just ruin it. And as I get it round in that dimension, I turn it a little bit between these cup centres. I rotate it and keep doing it and removing a little bit more. You can see it's not running true here where I've been turning it. So I take a little bit more off until it's true. I tend to turn it 90 degrees or so along its long axis and do a little bit more until it's round. And just do it very, very carefully. And when you're turning it like this, you'll see I turned it 90 degrees or something like that along its long axis. And I just make sure it's sitting nicely in those cup centres. I rotate it a little bit. And then do a bit more cutting back. And just keep going and going and going. And it does take a little bit of time and patience. And as I say, you just got to be careful not to overcut it. But that's it. And now start sanding. Using the Pro Sander. And I start from 120 and go up to 400. Rotating it every few seconds. Then it's my favourite bit. Yorkshire Grit Microfine. This is when the pattern really pops and the colours really pop. Working that Yorkshire Grit Microfine and then you buff it all away and you can see the sheen that's developing. It's absolutely fantastic for Milliput. I did a final buff using some Vonax, but it really wasn't necessary. I don't think it added much to it. The Microfine really does work well with Milliput. Outside in the garden, lovely sunny day, and here's the finished ball, the sphere, the Milliput sphere. Really pleased with how that's come out. The Yorkshire Grit Microfine did a great job. It's just over 5 inches in diameter. It's got quite a nice weight to it. Lovely tactile piece, very smooth. But this, as I say, the Turquoise Milliput is being launched at Makers Central 11th and 12th of May this year at the NEC in Birmingham. I'll be there. I look forward to seeing you all who can make it. This will be on Milliput's stand. I've made a little base for it, a little wooden base, and this will be on the Milliput stand, so you can go and have a look. But the new Milliput will be on sale at Makers Central. Visit the website, makerscentral.co.uk, and you can buy tickets there. You can even book stands, although I think the stands have just about sold out. But we'll look forward to seeing you all there. It's going to be a great show. Be back soon with some more videos. Bit of a crazy one next.
Please like, share and subscribe.
Thanks again, folks, for watching. I do really appreciate it. If you could give the video a thumbs up, it really does help me out a lot. As I said earlier, I look forward to seeing any of you at Makers Central, any who can make it. And do check out the description of the video for information on websites.
More rubbish coming soon.